The story begins with a truck to transport money belonging to one of the transport companies, as its workers loaded the money on board and set off to deliver it to the company's store, but suddenly they were stopped by road maintenance workers. But only moments passed until it turned out that they were disguised in this uniform and they are thieves who had stopped them to steal money. Then they forced them to get off it and started taking the money, and not only that, but they shot the truck employees and killed them and then fled. But after a few months had passed, a man named Hill came to the same company called Fortico, which was stolen a while ago, and applied to hire him in it. So there were conditions that must be met by those who asked to join, as they subjected him to several tests in physical strength, the use of weapons and driving skills, and indeed after he finished that, he was able to pass those tests and was accepted into the company and given the title H and handed him a gun. He was handed his first mission accompanied by his colleague Dave, and they set off on the truck and they transported the money, and that was done the mission without any problems. But H was mysterious, acting strangely all the time as if he was hiding something. The next day, Dave and Paulette set off on his second mission, where Bullet went to deliver a sum of money, but he was a little late, and in the voice of a stranger talking through Dave's radio and ordering them to move forward and deliver the truck, otherwise he would kill their colleague Paulette. Dave felt very nervous and wanted to escape with the truck and return to the company, unlike H, who was calm and refused to escape and asked Dave to carry out their orders and deliver the truck. But he was planning for something, indeed. Then Dave got in the truck and reached the gang members, so they ordered them to stop and move the money in their truck, and indeed then that's what H did. But suddenly he surprised them and shot one of them and then started clashing with them.
What'd you say?
H was able to eliminate the entire gang members alone, and Dave and Paulette were impressed and amazed at what he could do. But the strange thing is that he uncovered their masks after killing them, as if he was looking for a specific person. They returned to the company and told the investigators what happened to them, so they showed him then a recording of one of the cameras of that theft that they had been exposed to a while ago and asked H to recognize their faces. So H looked at one of the people with strange looks and seemed to know him, but then he did not tell them anything. After that incident, the name of H shined in the company and they treated him with all respect and even considered him a hero. After 3 months in one of the tasks in which H was assigned, suddenly, they were exposed to gang members who stopped them to steal the truck. Then they broke down the doors to break in, but when one of them saw Hill, he was disturbed and surprised to see him, as he seemed to know him, so he ordered his men to withdraw immediately, and indeed here they set off and fled quickly, as if they had seen a ghost. After their return, Bullet and Dave began to suspect him. As for going back in time, specifically 5 months ago, Hill went out with his son Doggy from the house, and then he received a call from one of the people, who was calling Hill the leader, where he asked him to help in a small part of a robbery they were doing, so Hill refused to interfere in the matter, but that man told him that his man assigned to this part of the mission had been caught by the police because of a traffic violation, so then Hill agreed to help them. Indeed Hill set out to, so as he was only required to tell them in which direction the money truck would go. Hill arrived at the desired place and got out of the car and left Dougie in it and then waited for the truck to come out, and when it came out he called his man and told him the direction it took, and then his mission ended. That truck did not move away from the place until it was stopped to find out this is the truck that was stolen. But the thieves were not Hill's men, but they are members of another gang. Dougie was close to the accident and saw the thieves, and they were killing the employees. But the gang members noticed that he had seen them, so they ordered him to get out of the car. Then one of them came and pointed his gun at him, shot and killed him. In the meantime, Hill came quickly and saw his son killed in front of his eyes, so he shot that person and dropped him to the ground while looking into the killer's eyes. After 3 weeks it turned out that Hill is still alive and turned out to be the leader of one of the big gangs. Hill met his men and ordered them to look for his son's killer among the other gangs. And indeed they began to attack gang members who were suspected of stealing trucks, and they interrogated several people and continued to do so for days long, but they did not reach any result, either Hill, and because of the failure of his men to find the killer, he prepared forged papers in the name of another person as a security guard in one of the companies, and thus was able to enter the company Fortico. Perhaps he can reach something that enables him to find the killer, but that gang has turned out to be professional thieves and have carried out many thefts, especially trucks transporting money, including that truck that they were killed while stealing. Son of Hill. The gang members were not satisfied with that theft, in which they got $6 million, but they were planning to steal the company's own store on Black Friday, in which money is widely circulated, as they estimated the money that will exist on that day at $170 million, all with the help of one of their men who works inside the company. Already on Black Friday, the gang members prepared to carry out the theft, and their plan was to climb into the truck driven by their man, the employee of the company. In the meantime, H and Paulette were on the truck carrying money and heading towards the store to deliver it, but suddenly Bullet began to admit that he was a gangster and told him the whole plan, and that he would be cooperative with them and not arouse the suspicions of the guards, and he was forced to do so in order not to kill him. So he told him that they were the ones who stole that truck and that they killed employees and a boy, and so Hill was finally able to find on the killer of his son and knew that this day is his chance for revenge. After a few minutes, Paulette entered the truck to one of the warehouses and his gang members were waiting for him, so they went up then on board the truck and continued his way towards the company's warehouse to carry out the theft. Indeed, they arrived then to the company's gate and entered the store without the guards feeling anything. Then they got out of the truck with their weapons and forced the guards to throw down the weapons, and then tied them up, and he tied H as well. They reached the money room, which was closed and inside it a number of guards, so they ordered them to open the doors or kill their Bullet, but the guards refused to do so and fired. The alarm started to clash with them. The gang members were able to kill the guards, and they blew up the door, and then they started filling the bags with money, and at that time the police and rapid intervention forces were on their way to the place of the company. Hill took advantage of an opportunity and attacked one of them and was able to kill him, and then he wore his uniform to hide among the gang members, so he attacked one of them and killed him and then put a cell phone in one of the money bags. He also attacked another person of them and eliminated him and then unmasked to see if he was the killer, but it was not him. Then he attacked the rest as they climbed into the truck, but suddenly Paulette appeared from behind and shot him and dropped him to the ground. But he did not die because of the armor he was wearing. As for Paulette, he joined his comrades on the truck and set off to escape, and then he saw Hill kill his son as he ran away. Remaining gang members Paulette and the killer named Jan and another person who was injured, so they were able to reach one of the buildings and enter it and close the road behind them as planned, and then began to move the money to another place. Then Jean and Paulette moved the money on the motorcycle through the tunnel and then started loading it into a car. As for Paulette, he prepared to kill Jean also to be alone with the money, but Jean was faster than him and he killed him and he was alone with the money, and then he got into his car and ran away. At nightfall, while Jean was hiding in a house, suddenly Hill appeared sitting behind him, where he was able to find his location thanks to that cell phone that he threw in one of the bags. Then Hill threw the medical reports of the murder of his son Doggy, then reminded him of the day he killed him, and then pointed his weapon at him and shot him several bullets and killed him, and thus Hill has finally avenged the killer of his son after a search that lasted for several months. As for that money, which is estimated at $170 million, Hill left it to an acquaintance who gave him help in his career to find the killer.